Well, we're going to discuss all this now with Professor Christian Dustmann, who's from the Centre for Research and Analysis of Migration at the University College London. Thanks very much for being with us. So we've had different reports this week, one saying that the number of immigrants coming to the UK really has little or no impact on unemployment, and then this other one that says it really does. The viewers out there are going to be pretty confused.
Yes, and rightly so. Now, to analyze the impact of migration on unemployment is very complex and very difficult. What we do observe in the UK is the effect is unemployment after migration has happened. What we would like to compare the two is unemployment had migration not happened. Now, this is what we call a missing counterfactual, which we do not observe. So research has to reconstruct this counterfactual, and that is very complex and very difficult. If we look at the two reports are based on different data. They look at different periods, and in particular the MAC report is pointing out an association, but not a causal relationship. Now, an association could be generated by, for instance, immigrants going into areas which are economically deprived, and therefore have higher unemployment. What we would find is an association between unemployment and immigration, which is not causal. It would not point at immigration causing unemployment, but possibly at immigrants going into areas where unemployment is high. So one has to be very careful in interpreting these numbers.
I mean, some of our viewers watching you would say, anecdotally, there's no doubt. They see immigrants coming in and they see unemployment going up, and they think immigrants are perhaps taking their jobs.
Well, what we have seen in Germany, for instance, just another anecdote, between 1960 and 1972 was an increase in immigration from about 2% of the population to 10% of the population. At the same time, unemployment decreased by 5 percentage points. That does not mean that immigration has led to a decrease in unemployment, but that the same economic factors led to immigration and at the same time to a decrease in unemployment. So one has to be very careful in making causal statements which are based on associations of the type the MAC report is pointing out.
So, I mean, could you tell us, I mean, we've had this figure that for every 100 non-EU migrants coming into the UK, the jobs of 23 British workers are displaced. I don't know exactly what that means, displaced, but again, I mean, you know, what kind of figure would you put on that? Well, I know you probably can't put an exact figure, but roughly.
Again, this is an association. So what we observe in the data is that an increase in 100 immigrants has been associated with a decrease in employment by 23 native workers. That does not mean that these 100 immigrants have caused these 23 native workers to lose their jobs. So that's a very important distinction. Now, policy cannot be based on associations, it cannot be based on anecdotes, it has to be based on causal relationships. The MAC report is not pointing out a causal relationship. That is very important to take home.
Okay. All right. Well, good to talk to you. Thank you for your analysis. Professor Christian Dustmann, thank you.
Thank you.
In America, the polls have opened in